Alright guys, we've got Samar, Gem Curse, another new legendary champion to showcase. In today's video, we're going to try out two different setups. And first thing I want to point out though is about his A2, which you'll see that I cover in the video, so I'm doing this after I've done the video. I don't think I fully understood sort of what this A2 meant, but now that I look at it, this is not like Black Knight. Black Knight has a skill that he deals more damage depending on how much HP he's lost. I'm thinking this here is only the difference between him and his target, whether the target is full HP and he's at 10%, or the opposite, whether he's full HP and then sort of like the opponent is at 10%, he will deal more damage with this skill. Anyway, it doesn't take away from what we're going to showcase today. Enjoy the video. Alright, so before we go over the gear, which we might play around with, let's go over the kit first this time, alright? So for the A1, I feel, again, very conditional. We either heal or we get a turn meter boost, depending on if we're above or below 50% HP, right? Well, because of the way the passive works, we actually start with block damage. So we're not expecting to take a whole lot of damage right off the bat. So if you think of Arena, you're obviously thinking of a very slow, tanky team so that you are hit and that the fight takes forever. You want to be annoying to kill. I think that is his #1 job if you're going to put him in the arena. Let's keep going here with the A2, where we attack one enemy, inflicts bonus damage equal to the difference in HP levels between this champion and the target, plus 1% damage for every 1% difference. Again, you got to be low health for this guy to hit really hard, so you're certainly not opening with a ton of damage. Then we also inflict bonus damage equal to the difference in number of buffs on this champion and the target, plus 10% damage per buff. So obviously, you can snowball into dealing a whole lot of damage, right? But again, maybe too much setting up. Then for the AoE, we have an 80% chance of stealing 2 random buffs before attacking. I think that's huge. It's basically a strip, and 2 buffs is usually pretty good enough to sort of like disrupt an enemy team. So I think that for that alone, it is very interesting. Question is he always going to open with a boon subversion, or is he going to try and do something else? Then we place extra hit on enemies that have any buffs left. All right, so again, does this skill deal a whole lot of damage or not? And the passive we just looked at. We will also, when we get low health, so below HP of 30%, we're going to place the block damage there as well. Now let's go over the masteries here real quick to see what he's done on this champion right now. We have defense and support. We went for high resistance, so we have unshakable right here. We do have evil eye, which is always pretty useful. Cycle of magic, shadow heal, which is always great on a champion that has a lot of HP, because you're able to passively heal just a little bit more. For the gear, we have pretty insane stats in terms of resistance, almost 700. We are extremely slow, however, and we have just about 74k HP, 22% crit rate, and 162% crit damage. So literally built as a tank that you cannot really sort of stop, right? A decent amount of accuracy so that we can hopefully steal some buffs. So for the individual pieces here, we have obviously a lot of resistance, a whole lot of resistance there as well. We have a lot of resistance there as well. And here we have HP percent with accuracy and resistance. Very nice. For the chest piece, we have resistance with some accuracy on top of that, HP on there as well. And for the boots, we have HP percent, accuracy, and resistance. All right, so this is a very good example of like the ultimate kind of resistance that you can get on a champion. HP percent, flat HP ring, sorry, with some HP percent rolls. We have a crit damage amulet with accuracy and resistance, and we have, of course, a resistance banner to complete this amazing setup. So we're gonna go right into the arena and test this guy as is. Alright, so let's go with this quick fight right here. We want to see this in action, so we start with the block damage, hard to set up. Now let's see what's going to happen here. So Prince Kaimar obviously goes for his cooldown reduction skill, which is kind of pointless because we haven't taken turns. Here we're going to hit with our Krila, so she's not the perfect allies join attack to showcase this, but then we want to see here as we counter attack what's going to happen with our guy Samar. Gem Cursed, which obviously he is going to deal hopefully a little bit of damage. We got a decreased turn meter and boost turn meter on himself, right? So then let's see here what he's going to use for his first skill on auto. Is it going to be a boon subversion, or is it going to be emerald curse or crystal flesh? Most likely boon subversion. Let's go for it right there. Bam. So we stole some buffs and we deal an extra hit on the champion that still had some buffs left on him. So if we would build this guy to deal some damage, perhaps as a nuker, an opener, nuker, and stealing some buffs, he might actually be pretty impressive. All right, for this next fight, we're going to go full-on defensive team. This is the team that he has set up on his defense with the current Samar Gem Curse, the way he is geared, all right? So we're expecting to be hit first. We did freeze some opponents, so that's always good. But we still have our block damage, right? So it's going to take some time before we cycle around to getting our Samar Gem Curse. Man, we're kind of destroying this team here without even Samar taking a turn. So let's see if we get something at least out of our guy. Maybe Arbiter is going to res. This fight is going to last hopefully a little bit longer. But again, we've taken literally 0 damage. And then you try to get like, you know, a Savage set on him for him to open up with that. Boon Subversion. We could have stolen that unkillable buff there. That would have been somewhat useful to counter a Skull Crown. But again, I don't think that by default, the way he is geared, we're going to see much out of him aside from just soaking up some damage. Maybe with the block damage, you can apply, or you can put a Bulwark, I believe, for the tier 6, which would mitigate perhaps some damage for your team. So again, on a like defensive team, the way he is geared, very interesting. All right, so now I took him apart and I re-geared him, decided to put a Savage set on this guy. We went for as much HP as possible. We had to sacrifice basically all the resistance, a good amount of accuracy as well. So obviously you can't get it all, but let's go over how I now geared him for this next series of tests. All right, so we now have only 67k HP. It's not perfect. The boots are not maxed out. It's not my account, so I'm not going to do it. 152 speed. We're still slow, unfortunately. We have 101% crit rate, kind of good enough, and we have 260% crit damage. 335 resistance. Again, it's not perfect, but now we're going to go a little bit more on the offensive. We're going to see if we can hit really hard if we manage to go first or we get around to this guy. As for the Masteries, I went with Helm Smasher now for the tier 6 and down the defense tree here for a little bit more utility. So now let's go back into the arena with this setup. Starting with this quick fight right here where we just obviously want to see the whole setup happen, right? So we still go block damage, but at this point we don't really care. So we boost up, and I believe this here will kind of strip them and reduce the turn meter, if I'm not mistaken. It does. AoE decrease defense and weaken. And now we get around to our big guy here, and we're going to go with, I assume, Boon Subversion. There's no buffs on the enemy team, so let's see what he's going to go with here. And we've got, no, he went for Emerald Curse, but we got 84k, sorry, damage, which is reasonable, but why did he go for the A2 first? Interesting. So his AIs may be very conditional. Perhaps it was something to do with the affinity. Now we've made it back around to our guy. And you know what? I'm thinking he didn't do it because there was no buffs, probably, to steal. So maybe you don't want a buff stripper with this guy. This is sort of what I'm noticing right here. But now let's go for this kill. I'm thinking he's going to do it, right? Boon Subversion, boom. And, okay, we dealt some damage, but they didn't have decreased defense and weaken except for our Salve the Drake. So I'm thinking we're going to have to retry that. Then we got 11k off of the A1. All right, let's try this team right here. We're going to do the same thing, but we're probably going to try and control that A3. So here, I feel like I need to do this if I want to make it around to my Samar Gem Cursed before they take a turn, but it looks like they'll still take a turn anyway. They're getting buffs. You know what? We don't mind buffs. We took some damage there, but we blocked the damage, so we don't really care. Although you would kind of want to take the damage. That's what I find so weird. Now they have some buffs. So, dude, are you going to do Boon Subversion right off the bat? Show me what you got. Okay, so we stole some buffs. We dealt a lot of damage to Dracomorph there. But again, I feel like perhaps, I don't know. Maybe I'm not using him right at this point. I'm thinking perhaps there is a better way to gear this champion or to get more out of him. Maybe you guys are going to figure it out. Let me know in the comments below. All right, so here we go with another fight. Once again, we want to see this guy in action the way he is currently geared with the Savage set. So we're going to go increase attack. We're going to go for turn meter reduction on the enemy team, AoE decrease defense, and weaken. Then we're probably going to have them cut in, which is not the end of the world. And we got provoked. So let's see what's going to happen with this A1 from Samar Gem Cursed here. Right there, we take the turn meter reduction. You know what? This fight might drag on long enough to see this guy actually do something else, but we got to lose the block damage. We really got to get rid of that block damage. Right there, we lost it. Okay. So hold on. Now it looks like we could potentially lose some HP here, so let's see what's going to happen. And we took a little bit more damage. Then we counterattack right there, which is not too bad. Actually, that was A1. So let's go for AoE decrease defense and weaken here again. And let's speed boost. It's not going to heal us. And now we're going to get our guy to hopefully do something here. What are you going to go for? There's no buffs on the enemy, so is he going to go for Boon Subversion or Emerald Curse? Boon Subversion. And we dealt, again, a reasonable amount of damage, but not my favorite nuker. I'm just going to put it that way. Certainly not my favorite nuker. Again, I feel like he could hit really, really hard, especially on that A2, but certainly not built as a nuker for the arena. All right, so here's a quick snapshot of the Great Hall in case you guys are trying to compare builds. And let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you think of this new legendary champion, Samar Gem Cursed, so far? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.